Do 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 do.
502.
Do 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 do. I need a breath mint. Do y'all need a breath mint?
CPI came in. CPI came in.
We're here to answer all your home loan questions, home buying questions, real estate questions, market questions. Ask all of them, guys. Don't be shy. Fill up the chat box. We want to know if you want to know about interest rates. He's talking about CPI, so what to project coming up in the near future, what to expect with interest rates. Good afternoon, California Dreamin'. It's good morning here still. It's 11:30.
What's up, California Dreamin'?
So remember, load up the chat box and ask all the questions, even if they're a little silly and you have dreams about becoming an investor or becoming a multi-unit owner or owning a bunch of doors, or if you're a first-time home buyer. Regardless of what it is, let us know what you're interested in and what you need data on.
One. They count. One. Whenever I go to a class and they say, hey, I just need you to know there are no dumb questions. And I say, challenge accepted. Let's do this.
Can I get a house with no income at all? Maybe. Still a maybe.
There's still a maybe. There's a maybe.
All these maybes.
There's a maybe. How rich are your parents?
How rich are your parents? How much cash money? I mean, someone might have a lot of cash money and not have an income at all.
So, Alex, Bruce and Pam, William, Meme, Donnie, Shambles, Adam Hackett, Timmy Jalen, San Francisco, Alejandro, Supporting Girls, Edgar Valles, Owen, Armin. There's a lot of people joining. I appreciate it. I appreciate you very much. It's not showing in the count, but I do see it. Do you see it?
It's all fake, man.
It's all fake. You think so?
All China.
All China.
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 How does Team Money say it?
China. How do you do it?
China. A little more down. Fingers down. There you go.
China. Okay. All right, cool.
So what do you guys got?
Well, CPI came out just a little bit ago. And it's a mixed bag, but it's also bullshit. Why is it bullshit? Well, do you know how important coffee is?
Oh, in the world?
Yeah.
It is highly consumed.
Like, do you know how important it is?
It's so important that wars have been started over it.
Correct. It's that important. You wouldn't think it's that important because you have coffee every morning, big deal, what the heck. But it's very important. Mm-hmm. And it's very expensive. It used to be in the CPI.
This make me a baller?
It used to be in the CPI. But in order to make the numbers look a little bit better, guess what they did in this recent CPI?
Don't tell me.
They took coffee out.
No!
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you're shitting. I mean, this is stuff that people never catch unless you're looking for it. But they took coffee out.
No!
I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. What do you mean you took coffee out? You can't just take coffee out. That's not how that works. But they did. And the numbers came in better. Imagine that.
Come on.
Holy shit.
Come on. T-Money Todd in the house. Any loans out there with no money down? Rocker to prove me, but what 3% down?
Todd, let's talk. 3% down. There's only 2 loans with 3% down. 2. They're both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And they're called Home Ready and Home Possible. And, Todd, here's something you should take. You need to really write this down. Get a pencil and then have a backup pencil ready in case the lead breaks on the first pencil. Because this is important. Todd, if you have less than a 750 FICO, you're probably better off with an FHA. What? Yes, I said it. Probably. And we'd have to shop them to find out. Wait, what are you talking about, Lee? If you go 3% MI, 3% conventional, Fannie or Freddie, we've got to price MI. And if you have a low FICO score, that MI goes through the roof. I priced one, what was it, 2.97, right?
Insane. I think it might have been in the 3s.
2.97, it might have been in the 3s. Well, I'm going to say 2.9. 2.97. Now, wait a minute, what's 2.97? Well, FHA has it set at 0.55.
Regardless.
0.55. Doesn't matter what your FICO score is. If you qualify for FHA, 0.55.
What if you have a 580 credit score?
0.55.
What if you have an 800 credit score?
0.55.
Boom.
So, if you have an 800 FICO score, hopefully you have a good LO that says, hey, we probably shouldn't be going FHA because your FICO score is too damn good. We need to be pricing you with a regular conventional conforming. But if you actually got something with 3% down, there's two ways you can do that. One of them is Home Ready, Home Possible.
770, Todd.
Yeah, that's pretty good. One of them's Home Ready, Home Possible. And the other one's going to be a down payment assistance where at the end of the day, they're coming up with about 3%. That's the other way. That you are putting 5%, but the down payment assistance program's covering 2%, so you're landing up with 3%. So that's another way you can get to 3%. So Rocket's a company. It's a good company. It's an algorithm company. And I don't really have anything against Rocket. I think Rocket is a very necessary McDonald's of the mortgage industry. It is. But you better be cookie cutter, because if you have any issues, like this is that one thing right here I told you, Todd, if you have a 770 FICO, I'd be looking at different loan programs. I'd be looking at different ways to give you a competitive advantage as we go forward. And I wouldn't give you an online pre-approval. At 770 FICO, I'd send you for a TBD underwrite. That's to be determined, means you're fully underwritten, not computer underwritten, fully underwritten with an underwriter, with a chums number that said, yes, this is good, because there's a difference. There's different levels in the mortgage biz. When I put together a loan, I have to calculate income, pull credit, check assets, and make sure that they fit within the guidelines. And I give you what's called the DUAUS. That's Desktop Underwriter Approve Eligible, or Loan Prospector, and that's Fannie Mac or Freddie Mac. So I give you that, and that's pretty good. It is pretty good, but it doesn't do the deep dive that I want for certain clients. It takes a little bit of time to do a TBD underwrite, but if I do a deep dive, the underwriter's going to do more stuff than I can. They're going to pull a 4506T, which is the IRS transcripts, to make sure your transcripts match up. They're going to do statement of identity, CAVers. They're going to do VOEs. They're going to do certain things that I don't have the ability to do, but they're going to come back and they're going to say, this is approved.
So to answer your question, Todd, yes, we have many programs they can get you in with no money down, okay? Many. There are limitations to some of them. There's pros and cons to all of them, but he's right. You need to see more options. So what we do when we qualify a buyer is we say, here's this, here's this, here's this. Which one do you want to do? What's better for you and your family? When you go through an automated, Rocket's not necessarily fully automated, but when you go through an automated system like that, you really can't expect it, because they're trying to pump out numbers. They're trying to get as many people in and qualify them for something and get them moving and get them shopping. But us, we're not automated. You actually talk to a human. There's a little bit of stuff that you send electronically. That being said, there are options. Give us a buzz. We'll let you know what you have. JD Wireless, do you help out with commercial loans?
You answer that.
Do we do them personally? No, we don't. They're a whole different process. But do we have an avenue for you? Yeah. So give us a call. Screenshot this. We'll give you a couple questions. We'll give you a good avenue to go down. Hopefully we can get you into some commercial property.
Gabriel followed the host. Hey, it looks like
Gabriel.
we got a few loan officers in here. We appreciate you loan officers. Every single one of you. We want you. If you're an OG and you've been around for a long time, great. Maybe you can teach us something. If not, sit down, son. You might learn something. We touch the guidelines. We fund loans all the time. We're actually producing loan officers in this market, which is very strange to say, for most loan officers are not producing. It's a very difficult time in the loan business. But we're producing loan officers, and we close loans all the time.
All the time. Fill up that chat box, guys. If not, we're going to go long-winded on every single question.
Yeah.
Keisha, when is the best time to buy?
When is the best time to buy? Keisha, when you're qualified. If you're trying to time the market, that usually never works. It's like trying to time the stock market.
Don't do that.
Not a good idea. But here's the catch. So people think that, hey, interest rates are high right now, so it's not a good time to buy. But I can make a very strong case that that's not correct. And here's how I make that case. So I get a whole bunch of applications every day. Like, we get applications every day. We try and keep up with the applications. There's so many of them. And we have 5 other loan officers on our team that we can literally say, hey, I need you to handle this. We need you to handle this. We get a lot of applications. However, of those applications, let's just say 100 come in this month, and 90 of them don't qualify because they don't have enough income. That's the market that we're in right now, because interest rates are at 7 or 8%, somewhere in that range. You can buy down to the 6s, but 7 or 8%. Crazy, crazy. But for that 10% that does qualify, they get to go out into the market and shop. And because there's very few buyers out there, the buyers run the show. They get to dictate the terms. Now, let me flip that a little bit. Interest rates go from 7 all the way down to 4. That's what they're predicting. 7 all the way down to 4. Now, all 100 applications that come in, all of them qualify. And then all of them are shopping for that same property. And then all of a sudden, there's a lot of buyers out there and not as many sellers, and that becomes a seller's market. Yep. So right now, we're in a buyer's market because the interest rates are high and because not many people can qualify for that house. So when is the best time to buy? I wouldn't say right now. If you're not qualified and things aren't right and you can't afford it, don't buy. But if you are fully qualified and you're seeing online and you're going, hey, I think I'm going to wait till interest rates go down, I can make a very strong case that you should be buying today.
Yeah, there you go. User 6131 signed a contract. Part of builder incentive is to lock rate within 30 days. Do I wait longer to lock?
So, user 6131. When's your COE? First question. COE. So, when you have a new build, many times, it's not built. And if it's not built, and you do a 30-day lock, and it rains, and you have to wait 2 weeks because of the rain, because they couldn't put a cover on a wet roof or whatever, well, now you have to pay for lock extensions. So, you need COE. And who's your lender? If it's the builder's lender, hate to tell you this, you're already in trouble. You're already in trouble. So, if the builder's lender is telling you to lock, and then you have a delay, they're not going to tell you that, hey, there's a way to negotiate this lock costs. They're just going to say, hey, you have lock extension costs. So, make sure you have a good realtor. You said you're already in contract. God, I hope you have a good realtor and you didn't use the builder's realtor, because if you did, it's working against you. And then, strike number 2 is if you use the builder's lender. Well, you're kind of, you're going to divorce court and you're using your spouse's attorney for everything for you.
You're gonna pay alimony.
What?
You're gonna pay alimony. Todd, thanks. I'll get back to y'all. I'm getting back to work. All right, Todd.
Appreciate you, Todd.
Guz. My VA agent spoke to me about points for a rate. What does that mean?
DA Guz, first.
They should have already explained this, bud.
Yeah, they should have explained this. Yeah, your LO should have explained this. Should have explained it. So if you have a VA loan, you're already a veteran, because you can't get a VA loan unless you're a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
One way you can do it, and that's if you are the surviving spouse of a veteran and you got entitlement benefits upon the passing of your veteran spouse. So that's another way you can get it. But the other way is serve. So thank you for your service. Appreciate you.
Hold on for a second. The Guz just said he's lost. Okay. Just so you know, we're VA experts. We know all about it. You're not going to be lost. Just pay attention. You'll be just fine.
Okay. So, the Guz. 1, we do a lot of VA loans. 2, I'm a veteran. My dad's a veteran. My son's active duty Navy Special Forces. Veteran community. We do a lot of VA loans. So here's what it is. Any loan officer, when they price a loan, any loan officer, they get a matrix. And I priced one this morning, and it came in at 5.5 all the way up to 9. So there's a matrix, okay? So all the way up from 5.5 all the way to 9. And you're like, hey, I'll take the lower one. Everybody would take the lower. 5.5 all the way to 9. Now, there's something called your par rate. Your par rate means it doesn't cost you anything. So that's your par rate. So let's just say in this scenario, your par rate is 7.25. That's your par rate, 7.25. But you're like, hey, I like that 5.25 that you mentioned earlier. All right, cool. I can get you that 5.25 rate. It's going to cost you $22,000. Wait, what? Yes, $22,000. And I'll take your rate from 7.5 down to 5.5. Why, Lee, why would I ever spend $22,000 to buy a rate down? There are reasons. There's sometimes good reasons. Sometimes it's not a good idea. But what you don't want to do is go, guess so, let's do it, maybe. It's math. It's literally math. So I'm going to go, okay, you're going to spend $22,000. $22,000, that's a lot of money. Cool. How much are you going to save? All right, you're saving $500 a month. All right, $500 a month. How long does it take for me to break even on $22,000? So that's about $6,000 a year-ish. $6,000 a year that you're saving. So 6 times 2 is 18. 6 times 3 is 24. So you're right about 3 years, you will break even if you write a check for $22,000. But wait a minute. What else should you consider? This is what your LO should be teaching you. He should be teaching you, telling you, advising you. He should be telling you all this stuff. Right now, the Fed funds rate is 5.25%. The Fed funds is the Federal Reserve lending money to the banks. And then that creates what's called the 10-year bond yield market, and the markets respond to the 10-year yield market. But 5.25, which translates into about 7.25 interest rate. So 5.25. The Fed, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has said, hey, we are going to get the Fed funds rate down to 2.5%. 2.5%. Holy smokes. But if you follow this, it's going to happen around the end of 26, beginning of 27. That's when it's going to happen. So it's slowly going to go down. Slowly, slowly, slowly. So what does that mean? That means that interest rates are going to go down over the next 2-3 years. So what does that mean? Are you going to, maybe I'll refinance? No, you're going to refinance. Anybody with a 7 or an 8 or even a 6, they're going to refinance. Everybody's going to refinance. Everybody knows it. So if you bought this down and you spent $22,000 and 2 years from now you refinance, you lost money. 3 years from now you refinance, you might break even, but it's iffy, and I'll give you reasons for that later. 4 years, you probably did a good job. So is it a good idea to buy that deep right now? All things being equal, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even do it. I actually went through this scenario with somebody, and they said, hey, Lee, 7.25, and I can buy all the way down to 5.25. I got the money. What would you do? And I said, you're not going to like this, but I would take 8.25. What? Why would you take 8.25? Because if you take above par rate, the bank gives you money back. And it's not a question of, am I going to refinance? It's absolute, you're going to refinance in the future. So you have to math all this out, and hopefully you've got a great LO who will understand this. Because if you're a brand new LO, even if you're in the business, I went over your head already. You don't know how to do this. This is technical, deep shit.
You're welcome, JD Wireless. He said, perfect, thanks. Hey, everyone, we're going to get to every single one of your questions. You don't have to keep asking the question over and over. We're going to get to you. Just hang in there.
Yep.
We answer everyone's questions so everyone gets a good service. The Guz, thank you for the love. Leah Jade, do you help with HELOC loans?
We'll not only help, we do them. We'll do your HELOC for you. What? Yep. We will do your HELOC for you. Yep.
Here's what's cool about the HELOCs, Leah Jade, is that when you work with us, we're not going to give you a HELOC. We're going to give you multiple options if you are approved.
Yeah.
Different loans, different terms. They all work a little bit the same, but you'll have options.
We broker a lot of HELOCs because we're not the best for HELOCs.
No,
yeah.
we keep more in-house now.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Andy the Goat.
And here he goes. Andy the Goat.
Andy. I know, Andy. I got to tell everyone,
Nobody cares.
Hang in there.
Work
We're going to
harder.
get to your question.
Nobody
hang
cares.
in there.
Work harder. Nobody cares. Work harder.
Nira Rodriguez. What exactly does it mean when we have been conditionally approved?
Okay.
Once again, your loan officer should be teaching you guys.
Yeah, so tell them. You answer that.
Okay, so here's what happened at the beginning is your loan officer took your information, paycheck stubs, W-2s, all the data needed to put a file together, and if you have a good loan officer, they went, this person qualifies. And then they sent you shopping, okay? They sent you shopping, then you said, hey, we got into contract, Mr. Loan Officer. And then the contract came back to him. He plugged in the data and then sent it to his processor. The processor made sure everything was in line, and they submitted it to underwriting, okay? Now, the underwriter went through it and says, oh, this all looks good. They're conditionally approved. But if they turn in these conditions, they'll be fully approved. So you should have got a conditional approval list, which means probably a current paycheck stub, probably a current bank statement, maybe a letter that needs to explain why you got a new credit card or different reasons. So you turn in those conditions, and then the underwriter goes through them again and says, meets all the needs, check it off, fully approved. So conditional approval is a good thing, guys. A lot of people are like, what do you mean conditionally approved? How come it's not fully approved?
Yeah.
It's a good thing because all the underwriter usually needs if you have a good loan officer is a few items to bring it current so they can sell off the loan in the future. And that's it. Yanira Rodriguez, congratulations on your home purchase.
Yeah,
I hope you love
Yanira.
What rate did you get? Just curious.
Yeah, what rate?
Tony Bradford, what's the highest LTV allowed for a refi once rates drop?
So LTVs, that's going to be, if you're doing a refi, probably Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
What does LTV mean?
Loan to value. Loan to value. So if you're doing a rate and term, that's different than a cash out. The rate and term is, you can go up to 97.5% on an FHA. 97.5, 100? 96. No, 96.5%. Sorry, 3.5%. 96.5% if it's a rate and term. Rate and term means you get no money out. I'm just dropping my payment. On a conventional, 80. Without cash out. Rate and term, without cash out.
Well, you can go 95, but...
Yeah, 95. That's what I was thinking.
Why would you want to do that?
I know, but you can go 95.
You can have MI.
You can have MI. So you can go to 95 rate and term on a conventional. However, if you're taking cash out, the whole matrix changed. 80% across the board. 80% across the board, unless you're a veteran.
Ooh.
If you're a veteran, 90%.
Ooh.
Boom.
VA loan's badass, guys.
Yep.
I love it. Salito T66. I have a tax payment plan. Does that affect my debt to income ratio?
Yes. Yes. But it doesn't stop you from buying. All we do is factor it in like a car payment or whatever. And if there is less than 10 months left on it and it's an installment program, I can ignore it. What? Yeah.
What? And hopefully you listened to us and took our advice on what kind of plan to get into so you can have the smallest payments. And if you don't know, ask. Jimmy, hey, 247, big DA, 20K down, no debt, 770 credit score, 94K a year. Don't want to spend more than $1,300 a month.
That's amazing, dude.
You gotta buy a Honda then.
You know what? If you went out and bought a Raptor, the Raptor's gonna be $1,400 a month.
Still not.
Yeah,
More than that. Interest rates
so?
suck.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, maybe $1,600 a month for a Raptor. That's a Ford. So you want to spend less than how much a month? $1,300 a month. $1,300 a month.
Probably one of those campers that go on the back of your truck.
Yeah, it's gonna be about the same price of a Raptor. You might get maybe, depending on your tax base.
They got 20K down.
20K down. That's not a lot. That's not a lot down. That's not a lot down. Because you're probably busting 160 if you take 20K down, which loan amount's probably 140, but that also depends on your property tax base and your insurance. There are some places where you can get a nice house for $160,000. Mena, Arkansas. I put somebody in a house not that long ago. Mena, Arkansas, 160 grand. Nice house. Couldn't believe it. But Mena, Arkansas. But if you live in a metropolitan area, yeah.
Jimmy, you're a good buyer. $95K a year, great credit, assets, $20,000. You can get something significant, but that $1,300 is the only thing that's holding you back.
We need to bring you down to earth just a little bit. You're doing good. Just down to earth, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Do you live in one of those small town places?
Do you? Yeah.
Because if you do, maybe it's doable.
Yeah.
I don't want to dog on you too much.
Well, there's some small areas in Texas.
Funny.
Yeah, there's some small areas in Texas that you can get a nice house for $160, $180.
Oh, dude, what's the one you showed me yesterday?
Oh, it's crazy.
The one in outside of Houston.
Right outside of Houston, $320,000 house, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, beautiful. Beautiful.
Big ass front yard.
Hopefully we go into escrow today.
Michael Turner, thank you for the love. Jay Tanay, thank you for the love. US Authentic 24. Guys, just purchased in November 2023. Oh, $300K, valued at $310. I have $30,000 I want to leverage, question mark.
I don't understand any of that. Did you? So, I purchased in November of 23. Okay, so let's dissect this. November of 23, we're in May now, so about 7 months ago, and you owe $300,000. And, dude, you're moving it around. The $310,000 is the value.
Where is it?
So there's a $10,000 equity. $10,000 equity.
There.
I have $30K I want to leverage. I don't understand what that is.
I think he has $30,000 in the bank. He's just saying that he bought a house and he has a little bit of equity.
Okay.
I think he wants to do something with that 30 grand.
Okay. Well, then
Maybe buy a house?
Well, you don't the 300 and 310, that's about par. That's if you were buying a $310,000 house, you would probably have to put $10,000 in, so the loan amount would be about 300 grand. So you're like right on the line. It's perfect. I mean, you're not bad, but you don't have any equity there that we can leverage. So I'm not sure what your question is. Help me out.
Yeah, ask it again. Clarify a little bit. Tristan just became attending. Salary $674,000.
Yep.
But $237,000 in debt from school. Can I do a $350,000 house in Texas?
So attending, I believe that's attending physician. I believe. I'm not sure because the only way I can justify a $674,000 is if you're a very high level, like super high tech guy, that some of these guys make that much money, some doctors, but usually that's surgeon. 674. So I do a lot of doctor loans and they're $200,000-$300,000, and they're common to have $200,000, $300,000 in student loan. So that's not uncommon. Can I do a $350,000 house? I would say all day, every day. All day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
If your salary is $674, because what I would do, here's the simple math I would do. I would take your $237,000 and I would do 1% of that, which is how
Half
much?
a percent.
Yeah, I would do 1% first.
Okay.
So 1%, because I have to do it in my brain. So
$2,300.
So $2,300 is your liability. Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. $2,300. 1%. $2,300 to somebody who makes $674,000 a year is nothing. That's nothing. It's like, who cares? But then most guidelines will call for half of that. So I would take the $2,300, cut it in half, about $1,800, $1,700, somewhere in that range, and nothing for someone who makes that kind of money. Yes, $350,000 house is shooting way low, way low. You're probably $900,000 depending on your credit report.
Yeah, $674,000. You're the biggest baller on this.
That's
far.
That's surgeon level, man. Surgeon. I've only done I've done some surgeons who make $750,000 base salary. Crazy, but they're high level surgeons.
Tristan, you want someone to take care of? Tony Bradford, what's the highest LTV allowed to qualify for a refinance? We already answered that question.
Yep, we did.
Jimmy, we already answered that question. Doug Guz. So the high rate now pays off. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome.
So that's the one who's at the VA. The VA.
Yeah, high rate now, yeah. Yeah, and you really should talk. So let me give you one more thing, because a veteran to veteran, if let's just say you're service connected. I don't know if you are or not, but if you're service connected at 10% or greater, your VA funding fee is waived. What's a VA funding fee? VA funding fee is a fee that's tacked on the top of a VA loan and can be as expensive as 3.3%. So if you're buying a $500,000 house, that's an $18,000 extra payment. But if you're service connected at 10% or more, that gets waived. But here's where your LO needs to know what they're talking about. When they pull your COE, which is your certificate of eligibility, from the VA, it's either going to say exempt or non-exempt. And if they don't know what they're looking at, it'll say non-exempt, because it hasn't worked its way through the system yet so that you can get exempt on your COE. That does happen. It happens a lot. Now, if you have a loan officer who actually knows what they're doing, they'll go, hey, wait a minute. This veteran told me they received $300 a month from the VA, which means they're service connected. All right, wait a minute. This says non-exempt. I'm going to force the VA to acknowledge this so I can get a certificate of eligibility that says exempt. Once I get that says exempt, it will save you $18,000. Here's the catch. If you have a LO who doesn't know this, you will pay it. He doesn't know you did wrong. You didn't know you did wrong. Nobody knows you did wrong until you meet me someday at an after hours party and you're like, hey, I got this. Like, cool. Did you get VA funding fee waived? What's that? Oh, if your LO knew what he was doing, he can get this waived. What? Yeah.
Right. Guess what?
What?
Time for a commercial.
Oh. If you need a badass loan, call a badass loan officer. You can reach your badass loan officers, Chris and Lee, at New American Funding by dialing the number on the screen. But don't dial it right now because we are live and we will not answer. If you dial after, we'll actually have a conversation with you and get you on your way to owning a house in 2024. This will disappear in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bye.
And if you're at work and you don't want to talk to us because your boss is listening, go to the link in the bio, click on apply for a home loan now, get the process started. Leah Jade, awesome. I will be calling you.
We appreciate you, Leah Jade. We're going to be here for you.
Caesar J, I did a bankruptcy. Can I do a HELOC?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But here's the catch. Here's the catch. Caesar J, this happens so often. I hate it, but it happens. So you go to bankruptcy and you go, hey, listen, I'm going to do a Chapter 7. Here's the difference between a 7 and a 13. 7, you say, screw these debts. Let the system pay them all. I'm not going to pay shit. I'm walking away. So that's a Chapter 7. So you have to go to Your Honor and you have to say, Your Honor, here's all the debts. Screw this shit. I'm walking away. I can't do it. And Your Honor says, all right, we'll do this, I guess, whatever. And like, what do you want included in this? Well, they're going to include everything, should I say. They'll include everything. Okay, cool. What do you want to reaffirm? And you're like, what do you mean reaffirm? What do you want to take responsibility for? Well, nothing. That's why I'm doing a Chapter 7, so I can walk away from everything. And so the judge says, okay, cool. Everything's gone. And then you say, well, what about my house? Well, if you keep making the mortgage payment, the mortgage company's not going to come after you because you're making the mortgage payment. But it's no longer in the system because you BK'd it out and you did not reaffirm. If you didn't reaffirm, no HELOC for you. No HELOC. No second mortgage. None of it. Because you used the system and your attorney didn't do things the way you want because you didn't know to ask. Yeah, you didn't know to ask. Your attorney should have said, hey, you probably want to reaffirm this. But here's how the conversation goes. Would you like to reaffirm this? Well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is they can foreclose on you in the future, but they can't anyway if you didn't make the payments. Well, what if I don't reaffirm it? Nothing really, because the attorney doesn't know. And you're like, well then, let's not reaffirm it. Cool, all right, cool, it's in there. So it goes away, and then 5 years later you come to me and you're like, hey, I've been making this payment of $2,000 a month, every month on time forever. I pull credit, I'm like, it's not there. I do see a bankruptcy about 7 years ago. That's fair. I BK'd. Oh yeah, I BK'd. Okay, did you reaffirm the mortgage?
What'd that mean?
That's what they all say.
So here's what I liken it to. Here's what I like, just give you an idea of how this looks. You go to a mechanic, and he's like, oh yeah, I can fix your transmission. So he takes your transmission out of the car, does all the work that he needs to do, and it's fixed, but doesn't put it back in the car.
Damn!
So that's basically what
pretty harsh.
When an attorney does when they do a bankruptcy but don't reaffirm.
I have never been to a transmission mechanic who didn't put it back in, but that's
But I have seen a lot of attorneys not reaffirm.
Yes, a lot of them are about the same.
They're freaking a waste of money sometimes. Cheap tool reviews. Sorry, I asked yesterday, but I had to leave the live. So let's jump to this question because you might have to leave again.
Yeah, we want you around, cheap tools.
We're doing you special. Currently have a house with an ADU and would like to rent both and purchase.
Probably yes. Here's the catches. If it's an FHA and you want to try for a new FHA, maybe no. But it just becomes a investment property. That's it. You've got this and this. They create an income. Now, you will have to report it on your Schedule E, on your tax returns, because we do look at that. You will have to say, hey, I have this, and I'm reporting both, and here's my income. And if you want to use it for income, you have to not write everything off, because that's where everybody gets caught. They're like, hey, I got rental income of $4,000 a month. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And I look at their Schedule E, and they write off $4,200 a month. And I'm like, you don't have $4,000 a month. You have negative 200. And they're like, no, I don't. I'm like, yes, you do. That's what you told the IRS. Yeah, but that's just for taxes. I'm like, okay, so let me explain this to you. You know, the IRS, when you send in your documents and say how much you make and how much it costs you, that's the federal government. Yes, you sent it to the IRS, and that's what you said. Cool. Guess what? When you go to FHA, VA, or USDA, that's the federal government. Hey, shocker, they talk to each other. They do. So you can't say to one side of the federal government, oh, I don't make any money, Mr. Federal Government, because I have a lot of expenses. And then turn to the other side of the federal government and say, trust me, bro, I make money. But what if we go Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? Well, that doesn't work either, because those are called GSEs, Government-Sponsored Enterprises. I always mess that up. Government-Sponsored Enterprises. And the federal government is involved in writing their guidelines. It's all the federal government. So, depending on how you claim it, you can do it. But can you buy it? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. And at the very least, you can offset your current mortgage and buy the new house. So either way, you have a good strategy. You just got to talk to the right guys. This guy, I like George Luden's statement. I
George,
like this.
George Luden.
No, and this is good.
Okay.
Because he's smart. He knows how to write it so we don't get in trouble.
All right, cool.
A couple of guys with masters from Drumpf University learn from the best, Johnny J.
Dude,
he knows how to write it.
He knows how to write it so he doesn't get the big mark.
Yep.
Because you know if you said that legit, they would stop you.
Yes.
Dude, we dig guys like you, George.
Yes.
Bring it. Bring it, bring it, bring it. Yes.
Tony Bradford, how common are post-closing conditions? Good question.
That's a
This
very good one.
obviously happened to you.
Yes. That's very... Okay, so it depends on your scenario. It's scenario. Well, let me give you one. I had one who was leaving California and buying in Utah. And same company, but he had another branch in Utah that was incorporated differently because of Utah. I don't know. So I said, hey, listen, it's the same company, but they're kind of going to a new job, but it's the same company, different corporation. And the underwriter said, this is all kind of strange, but I'll tell you what. Give me a strong offer letter, a guaranteed offer letter, and I will let it fund with a post-closing condition that shows he has his paycheck after. So that's a post-closing condition, and that's the scenario. The scenario. Sometimes, if the underwriter feels like you are trying to game the system on an FHA or a VA, they'll put a post-closing condition that you didn't know about, which is verify buyer is actually residing in the residence. And you may not even know about that. So there are post-closing conditions. It's not uncommon. It's not the norm.
Crystal 1983, good question. Very tricky. Will the VA let me buy a stick-built and manufactured on the same land and live in one?
Give me a second.
Give him a second.
Yes, but it's very tough.
Very tricky.
Very tricky. Here's why. Because that stick built has to be approved, which is usually easy because that's the stick built. But the hard part is the manufactured. Because if the manufactured isn't on it with a 433 and an engineering cert and permitted and everything and classified as another dwelling unit, the VA is going to say no. Best case scenario, you're going to be able to go, it's a barn, and get no value for it. That's a way to go, but you're not going to get value for it unless it's fixed, and at that point it becomes a duplex or a different primary with an ADU. There's many classifications, but it has to be done perfectly by the numbers, and in that case, yes.
And is it manufactured or is it mobile? Because if it's mobile, hook it up to a truck, drag it out, let the appraiser appraise, bring it back.
Yeah. Did I do that right? I did pretty right.
Yeah, very good. Francisco Cola, I want to buy, guys. So what is the recommendation? And I make $93K a year, but I need help.
So
Francisco's at the right spot.
You're at the right spot, Francisco. Such the right spot. Let me tell you that your budget probably starts about 400 grand. 400 grand, somewhere in that range. And if you got a good FICO score, that's even better if you don't have a lot of liabilities. Where do you start? Real simple. You take your phone, boom, and you screenshot this.
Booyah.
Screenshot it. It's going to disappear.
It will?
Screenshot.
Magic.
Okay. And then you call us, and we have a conversation, and we talk about it. And I say, hey, listen, I'm going to pull your credit. We're going to find out what your liabilities are. Hey, did you know this was on there? I never seen it before. Why don't I send you a copy? Let's take a look at it so you know what I'm looking at. All right, cool. Hey, that's not mine. Okay, cool. Let's fight it. All right, let's clean that up. Now that it's all cleaned up, how much did you want to put down? All right, cool. Where did you want to buy? All right, cool. Is this your budget? Perfect. Do you need a realtor? We have top producing realtors that we know close deals all the time so they can help you. Let me give you a realtor. Okay, cool. Oh, you're shopping this weekend. Hey, that's amazing. Oh, they need proof of funds? Crystal, send that right now. Oh, they need a new DU? Crystal, send that right now. Oh, you're in escrow? Badass. Good job. Oh, you just got your keys? Party time. You now own a house. See? That's how.
Easy peasy, Francisco. Hope to hear from you. Sell T66. How do I get the smallest tax payment?
You cover that.
This is a great question. I'm glad you asked. So I said it earlier, so you would ask later. So here's what you do, guys. In the tax code, if you do an OIC, which is offer installment agreement. Oh, wait.
No, that's offer and compromise.
Okay. If you do an offer installment agreement, what you're going to do is go online. You're going to put in the data. It's going to show the tax year that you owe the money for. But what they don't share, because you have to read the tax code, is what's the longest term they'll allow me to get And by doing that, what you're going to do is stretch out the payments to give you the smallest payment. And it's 84 months, 7 years.
You know, we know because we do them all the damn time.
All the time. And why is this important? Because a lot of people want to get rid of this debt fast. So let's say you owe $12,000 where you go, I'm just going to pay $1,000 a month. You're going to give yourself a $1,000 a month payment. Okay? But if you stress that over 84 months, you're going to shrink that payment down, which will fit a lot better into your debt-to-income ratio, which will push up your purchase price or at least maintain it so you're not forced to buy a cheaper home in a different neighborhood that you do not like. So that's how you do it. If you already did the agreement, I'm not sure if you can amend that. But if you haven't done it yet, go 84 months, especially if you're going to buy a house. And you can make whatever payment you want, by the way. So if that payment's $100 a month, automatically coming out, you can put an extra $1,000, $2,000, $400, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that that guaranteed payment's low. Mm-hmm. Angel and Naris, do you need a realtor or a broker to buy a new model home?
So I'm going to give you the answer, and then I'm going to give you the backup to the answer.
It's going to be a long
The
one.
answer is no, you don't need one. But that's very stupid. Very stupid. You should have one. You should have a good quality realtor that is your realtor, not assigned to you by the builder. You need to bring your realtor to the table that has a lot of experience because that builder is going to try and game you left and right. So, if you want to know more, ask more questions.
Yeah. Whoville Hater back in the house.
What's up, Whoville Hater?
Angel, thank you for the follow. Whoville Hater said, if I put a HELOC to put a down payment, will that affect my DTI?
Yes.
I'm assuming it already owns a home.
Yeah. Whoville Hater, yeah. So if you did a HELOC, there's a monthly payment on it. The monthly payment is a monthly obligation, so it's going to affect your debt-to-income ratio on your next purchase. It's going to be factored in. Sometimes it's prohibitive. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Christine, best to take proceeds from the sale of your home and apply it to your debt or use it for down payment?
Christine, very good question. That's a great question. So we wouldn't know until we saw your file. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just want to have the relief of the debt paid, but it doesn't really benefit them. It would benefit them to either buy the rate down or different ways to use it. Not always best to pay down debt. Not always best. Sometimes it is.
These are actually my favorite loans to work. And here's why. So, Christine, what you would say is I'm going to net $100,000. So now you gave me a real budget to work with. When you give me a real budget to work with, I can move it all over the place behind the scenes, take me a few hours to work on it, and then I can come back with a good scenario. What really sucks is when you have just the down payment to work with and you have this debt and you might have to buy down. It makes it very difficult. But you have the best situation, Christine. I love these loans. I'd love to work on it. Hopefully you reach out to us.
Christine, let me give you one real good example of what could happen. Let's just say you had a nice car payment and you owe like 20 grand on it. 20 grand on it, and it's a $1,200 payment.
Yeah.
$1,200 payment, and you said, hey, I'm netting 100 grand. I would go, wow, $1,200 payment hurts. Why don't we take 20 grand of that 100 grand and pay off this car, and that 1,200 will gain you how much in buying power?
Let me think.
1,200?
Like 100,000?
I would say $120, $140.
In that range.
Yeah, so you'll be able to increase your purchase price because we use the 20,000 appropriately.
Yeah, so 20 grand gets you 100 in that scenario.
Yep.
Hello, Pearl. Thank you for the love. Cheap tool reviews. We just worked on that one. Catherine Sadul. I submitted my paperwork last week with you guys. How long would it take to get a response? Catherine, here's the question. Was everything done? And if it wasn't, I'll take a look when we get off. But do me a favor. Text me. This is me. Text me right now with your name. I'll look into it when we get done. But what usually happens, and this is very common, not your fault. So when you go to put in an application, you have to put in data. And if you have a cosigner, you got to put in their data. And if it's asking you for documents and not everything is there, like a lot of people confuse W-2s and taxes. Maybe you put the same W-2 in or the same taxes. So it hasn't flagged us yet. So not your fault, but do me a favor.
Yeah.
Text me. I'll check on it as soon as we're done. And if it is being worked on, I'll make sure it's fast-tracked. Hopefully we can get you an answer today.
By the way, to anybody on the feed, if you've done an application, text us, talk to us.
Always.
We're real.
Don't wait for these lives.
Don't wait for these, and don't think the system is automatic. We're like real live people. We work the loans. We have loan officers that work with us, and we talk with them every morning, and we work the loans. But if we don't even know it hit the system, we don't know.
Yeah. User 7387. What do I qualify for if I make $90,000 and I have an 800 FICO? Badass credit.
Yeah, that's badass. So you're probably starting at about 410, 420, and then going up from there. So 800 FICO is brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant. It's going to give you a lot of power.
User 7387. How much more could I qualify for if I got 3 unit and live in one and rent out the other 2 for $3K each? Did you come up with that number yourself, $3K each? Is that something that you can actually rent it for, or is that a number that you would like to rent it for? That's a big deal.
Because, so what happens is the loan limits go up. And let's just take Los Angeles. If we're in Los Angeles and I want to do a 1 unit, in Los Angeles, the loan limit is 1.1 million. If you put a 3 unit, 1.8 million. That's a guess on that one. I have to pull the guideline, but 1.8 million. If you're making $3,000 from each unit, I'm allowed to use that as income, but you must occupy the primary residence. So, yes, it can work, but it's going to depend on where you're at, loan limits in your area, and yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah. Look, what is that? PHVT Cat. How does 2 years work history work? Was unemployed for 3 months before working again. More. Did I ruin my chances of purchasing?
Got good news for you, PHV Cat.
Fantastic.
We got such good news for you. Such good news for you. It's amazing. There should be balloons flying when we tell you this news.
Or 10,000 likes.
Or 10,000 likes.
Those screens, guys.
Tap the hell out of those screens. So here's the guideline. If you were out of work for 6 months or more, you must be back to work for 6 months. If you were out of work for less than 6 months and you went roughly into the same industry, I need a letter of explanation stating why it took you that long. And if the explanation is tough to find a job, that's it. Still meets the guideline.
Yep. Cheap tool reviews. Wife doesn't have an FHA, but I do. We can apply for FHA together.
Ooh, you catch that.
That's a tough one. Cheap tool reviews. That's a tough one. Here's why. Because the FHA is what they call a 100-mile rule. Okay? So here's what they believe you're going to do. Even though it may be authentic and it's what you want to do, you're thinking, I'm going to buy my new house FHA as well. But they say you have to buy a house 100 miles away or more because they think you're going to buy this house for 3.5% down and then rent it out. And that cannot be an investment property. It must be a primary residence. That's why they created that rule. That being said, how far are you moving from the house that currently exists? Because if that's the case, there is a possibility to go FHA. If not, you can absolutely go 5% down conventional. And that's very common. That's what most people do. And here's what's really cool about your situation. You currently have a mortgage on your house. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're gonna get a renter. You're going to get them in a contract. They're gonna move in when you move out. They're gonna write you a deposit check, whatever that deposit is, $1,000, $5,000. You don't have to cash it. Just give me a screenshot of it. Now, what we're gonna be able to do is act like you don't have a mortgage payment. So you buy that new house with 5% down, max purchase price of whatever that may be, and you're in a good spot. And you're the one with this is the one with ADUs, right?
I think so.
So we can't use all that income to apply for more. But we can absolutely get those streams of income in because you're going to have 2 very good streams of income that's probably going to be paying for a lot of your current mortgage as well. So you're in a good spot. May not be able to go FHA, but when you apply, we'll let you know.
Raimundo Nieto, 886. Is it easier to negotiate and buy a foreclosed property? You would think it is, but it's not. It's a market. If the house is worth $500,000, doesn't matter who owns it. A foreclosed property means the bank owns it, but the bank knows what the market is. They're not stupid. So they're going to put it on the market for $500,000 and they're going to get $500,000 if that's what the value is. They might be a little less emotional because it's just numbers to them. So you might get a little catch here and there, but not enough to like move the needle. So I know you would think negotiating a foreclosed property is better because that poor bank, they don't have enough. They're in trouble. They have to buy the house back. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. It's just numbers to them. So, not really.
Not really. CCG, I'm on the corner doing it live. I love it, CCG. We're going to be doing more, outside stuff too because we've noticed that we get more traction and people involved. So, good thanks you. He also let us know that people are messaging him saying that they're the mortgage guys.
Oh, yeah?
Not us, guys.
Yeah, not us.
Not us. Unless it comes from this one feed that you guys are watching on. We do not have another feed. It's not us. Screenshot it. Or do me a favor. If you think they're trying to scam you, just call me. I'll let you know if it's us or not. It's pretty easy.
Live in Maui, make $100K, not enough for a house. Clapped clips. So, Maui, there's a lot of politics going on there, and I feel for you people, man. I feel for the people in Hawaii because I don't know what's happening, but it's not pretty what's happening. It's beautiful. I love Maui. Love Maui. Love Hawaii. Love the Big Island. Love Maui. Maui's not the same as the Big Island. They're way different. Way different.
Chief Two Reviews. Yep. Thank you. I'm still here also. Thank you for watching.
Appreciate
Hang
you.
in there. We're going to answer everyone's questions. Lab clips. What a deposit needed for an $800,000 house.
So deposit is different than down payment. So the deposit can be $500. It can be $1,000. And that's going to be what's called your EMD, Earnest Money Deposit. That's what you tell the seller, hey, I'm serious about buying this house. But if you make a $100 EMD, the seller's like, yeah, I don't think you're that serious. The problem is if you go too high on the EMD, and let's say you make a $20,000 EMD, and then somewhere along the line the deal hiccups, and you have to back out. They're like, I'm keeping that 20 grand. And then you have to have a really good realtor to make sure they don't, because it's a game, it's business, it's kind of hardcore. So EMD can be as little as nothing, and can be as much as you want.
Yeah, Ashley, I'm back again. Do you have more info on home mobility in Maryland for people on disability? So Ashley, I did look into this, and I was looking at internal programs that we have here. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't like to share this, and I don't like to say it, but I have to be honest. I did not find anything that will help apply with anyone that's on disability. That being said, buying a house doesn't stop someone who is on disability as long as you can afford to do that. And the other thing that I came up with, it wasn't for purchasing, it was only for rent. It was Section 8. Because Section 8, I've never done it, but I've told that, or what I read, is that they do help people with disability because they'll help you pay for some of the rent. But buying a house, very difficult. Sorry I didn't come back with better data, but I wish you the best of luck.
And Ashley, I will give you one thing. If it's permanent disability income, we can gross it up, which means there's some money that we can get a little bit more for you, a little bit more, so there's a little bit of an advantage for you there.
Whoville Hater, if my income doubles over 1 year, will they go off your current or will they average it over 2 years?
Depends, Whoville Hater. That's a good question.
Yeah.
So, if your income doubled and there's a solid reason and it won't go back down, then I'll be able to use the new high amount. I'll give you an example. Let's say I worked at AutoZone. And at AutoZone, I made $50,000 a year, and I was a really good employee, and I showed up every day. And then all of a sudden, they made me the manager. Same job at AutoZone, but I went from 50 to 100 grand a year, like that. I doubled my income, like that. The underwriter's going to go, what happened? And you're going to say, well, I got promoted to manager. They say, prove it. Here's my promotion letter. Yay. Let me see your first paycheck stub. Salary. Perfect. I can use 100% income. Now, let me flip that a little bit. Let's say you're loan officers like us, and 1 year you make $50,000, okay? And the next year you make $100,000. You're going to say, what happened? Interest rates went down. I'm at $100,000 because interest rates went down. The underwriter's going to go, yeah, but they can go back up. So I am not going to give you your full 100 grand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 24 months and give you a 24-month rolling average, or 30 months, 30-month rolling average. And there's a few different ways to calculate that income, but we're probably going to land up somewhere around $75,000 for a commission guy who doubled his income. So a little bit different. Did I do good?
I think you did real good, man.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
I'm trying to find it. $98,000 in Virginia. I don't know if that's income. I think it's income. 750 credit score. What can I get?
98,000. You're busting 410, 420, 430. Virginia's tax base is pretty low. I do a lot of homes in Norfolk, why? Because there's a lot of military bases there, and I have a lot of connections with the special forces out there. So we do a lot of houses out there. Tax base is pretty low.
Maddie Boo says that her closing day is tomorrow.
Maddie Boo, congratulations.
Is that fun
Maddie
date
Boo,
or record
Maddie
date?
Boo.
Maddie Boo, let us know.
Maddie Boo.
Tanya, 5 days in the house, major roof leak. We had an inspector and owner was living there. Owner said new roof. It's insured. Which means there's going to be a warranty. If it really is a new roof, there's a roofer attached to that who has a cert for at least 3 years, at least in California. Is that the same thing across country?
So Tanya, yeah, I hope you had a good realtor. I really hope you had a good realtor, because this is going to turn into a really weird...
Well, it may.
Maybe.
It sucks that it happens.
Yeah, it sucks that it happens. But here's what happens. The realtors like to... It's called plausible deniability. Did I not know? Did I not know? Did the client not tell me? Because if there's a major roof leak, that's usually something somebody knew about. Was the ceiling an extra white when you moved in? Was it just whiter than everywhere else? Because usually what happens is they know there's a roof leak, they patch it up real quick, and then they paint the ceiling, and it looks just a little bit better white than a good realtor should have caught it. A good inspector should have caught it. And if there was reason to believe it was there, the underwriter would have called for what's called a roof cert. And a roof cert is a roofer going out there and saying, I guarantee for the next 2 years this is not going to leak. And if it does leak, I'll pay for it. And they usually pay that roof cert guy $1,000 or whatever. And it's kind of insurance from a roofer. But I hope you had a really good realtor. We deal with these things a lot, Tanya. So if you start to get a little mixed up, talk with us. We'll help you through it.
Yeah. So I hope it is a new roof. If it is, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Rajvinder, thank you for the love. Cheyenne, thank you for the love. Nana's back.
Nana.
Can I afford $350,000, 750 credit score, $60K, $150 debt? $150 debt, that's good. But no.
Yeah, you're not there. You're not there, no. Nana. You're not there. You're 250, 260. Yeah, and it's going to depend on your revolving liabilities and your property tax base. But if you put a non-occupant co-borrower in there, like mother, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, or if you put your significant other on there, or if you bought a house with a friend and your friend lived with you, there's different ways to handle that. But your income, that's what really drives your purchase price.
All right, dude, we're going to have to speed around. You ready?
Well, we're not speed around yet, are
Yes,
we?
we are.
Damn,
Yes, we
okay.
are. User 6877, can I keep my primary and use rental income? Use it as rental income.
If you're keeping it as your primary,
I'm assuming it's buying another house.
Straightforward. Yeah, if you're buying another house and you had that, you moved out and using it as rental, yeah, straightforward all day long. Yep.
Alpha Tryon, just tell her she doesn't qualify.
That's not a good thing for us to say, Alpha. We really want to help people qualify. So if they don't qualify at the moment, because most people that talk to us don't qualify at the moment, we have to figure out how to fix their credit score, up their income, down payment assistance programs, get rid of credit problems. There's a lot of things. So we don't like to say you don't qualify. We like to say, hey, we need to work on certain things and give you avenues to fix it. So
Susu, available in Florida?
Yes, we are. All 50 states. How many? 50. How many of them? All of them.
Catherine Sadul just messaged you.
Appreciate you,
We'll get back to
Catherine
you.
Sadul.
Nira, I purchased a fixer-upper home at 21, and in 21, 3.8 conventional, ruined my credit trying to keep up with, I'm assuming the payments. Have the equity but bad credit. What should my next move be at this time?
Nira, you probably have equity, which you just said, and this is a rare situation, but can you rent it out? Can you rent it out and buy yourself an apartment? Because if you can rent it out, houses go for ridiculously high prices these days. Ridiculously. You would be able to cover your mortgage payment, probably make a little bit of profit, cover your rental, get back on your feet, fix your credit, buy another house. That's an avenue.
All right. Fat Cat, thank you for the love. C-Rod, thank you for the love. Rajvinder, how long do you need to occupy the primary unit?
1 year, technically. 1 year. That's FHA, VA. Conventional, it's a little weird because there's some different guidelines, but just say 1 year as a rule.
All right. User 6877, can I buy a new house and use my current property for rental income?
We already said that, but yes.
CCG, I'm buying 6 houses and live 99 miles away.
Congratulations.
Move 1 more mile away.
Yeah, 1 more mile away, yeah.
Rajvinder, if I co-sign, does it affect my DTI?
Oh, yes, it does. Unless the other person makes the payments for 12 months out of their bank account, not yours, not, hey, they get me the money. Out of their bank account at 12 months, I can start to ignore it.
MB, is it okay to switch in between jobs or have to stay with the same one company for 2 years?
Good question, MB. You can switch as many times as you want as long as your trajectory is up. If your trajectory starts to go down, puts questions in there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the same job.
CCG, don't co-sign for anyone.
CCG, little negative. All right, cool.
Nira, 2-point question above. Please help. All right. We answered it, though.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, 2-part.
Okay.
C-Rod, Texas, can you really buy with a 580 score?
Yes, you can. It's more difficult today because the mortgage industry is scrutinizing a lot of stuff, but we have to find out what caused that 580. If it's current lates, probably not. Probably not. But if it's old lates, like 2 years ago, maybe yes. Maybe yes. So the answer is yes, you can.
Bella82, do you guys help in North Carolina?
Yes, we do. We love North Carolina. All 50 states. We do business in all 50 states. We can help you.
Crystal 1983, if I paid off debts, can I still apply even though it's not reporting yet? FICO 580, or should I wait?
Crystal, you need to talk to us, your licensed loan officers, prove that you paid it off, and I'll force the credit reporting agencies to acknowledge the payoff. We can do something, because we're in the lending business, we can do something called a forced rescore, which means I send them proof that it got paid off, proof of all this stuff, and then within 72 hours, they rescore it like that. If not, you have to wait for the natural cycles, which can take 90 days.
Nana said, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Hooville Hater, I want to buy a small commercial property and use a HELOC. Do you guys do that?
Small commercial, we don't do the commercial loan. Sorry. We do the HELOC. So we'll help you with the HELOC, and we'll probably refer you out on the commercial.
Yep. Cosign for me, Lee.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hey, Bella said, thank you guys.
I appreciate you.
Nira, I can rent, yes, but still hard getting a rental with bad credit and need deposit funds.
Yeah. Nira, I'm
tough.
trying to give you some options, but
It's tough.
yeah, you can. Yeah. Rapid rescore. CCG's a loan officer.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Nobody knows those terms. Yeah.
Got that way above.
I appreciate you.
Nira,
We
also
appreciate
need
you.
roof repair. Damn, Nira.
Nira. Oh, that's some. You got some challenges going on there.
Bella82, call Lee. All right, guys.
All right, cool. We appreciate you. We've been Chris and Lee. We are out.